on our Wednesday podcast night. My name is Nancy Glover, and I'm the Director of Housing and Community Development for the City of Temple. And I'm here tonight at the invitation of Pastor Beeman to talk to you about a new program that we're encouraging the people within our community to take advantage of and to hopefully implement in your churches. Pastor Beeman has done it here at A New Day Fellowship, and my church, St. Mary's Catholic Church, has also implemented it. I've talked to several other churches about it as well, so we do have some momentum and just hoping to build on that as we can get the word out to other people, like the viewers here tonight. So the program is called your local mission field. The Love Your Neighbor program is what we're calling it. And essentially, it's just a model that has been tried and true for centuries, in which the church is really the leader in the neighborhood of in community development in the area directly around their church facility. So I want to start off first by just explaining who I am and what I do and sort of my tie to this initiative. The Housing and Community Development Department within the city has several different divisions, and those are here on the screen. We have a neighborhood services division that provides direct support for people of a low to moderate income that are experiencing a variety of different issues with their home or just having struggles of one sort or another. They will reach out to us and receive different referrals out to agencies or help through our internally funded programs to help just provide that support. We also have a neighborhood planning division that is going into 18 different neighborhood districts throughout the community and providing support and opportunities for the neighborhoods to give us feedback about the improvements that they want to see in their neighborhoods. And through that input, we're developing a plan for improvements. And those improvements can include anything from infrastructure improvements like new roads and sidewalks and lighting to programmatic improvements like neighborhood watch program implementation and things like that. We also have a grant division, and that division manages all of the inbound and outbound grant programs for the city. And we use those funds, the inbound grants, to pay for a variety of different initiatives that are city-sponsored. And then our outbound grant program goes to nonprofits in the area that are providing programming that directly supports our initiatives. And then lastly, and most recently, we added a homeless services division because we are implementing a recently developed strategic plan to address homelessness and mental health issues throughout Bell County. And so that division and the homeless services coordinator that works under that division is helping to implement those initiatives on our behalf. So we know a lot about community development. That's really what our department is all about. But this is the bottom line. Community development is really listening to the needs of residents. We have to understand what your needs are. When you call our Housing Resource Center, we ask a lot of questions because we want to hear really what you're struggling with and what you're dealing with, and listen to those citizens that are reaching out to us. The same with our neighborhood planning division. We get out and we do active engagement to get feedback from the community because listening is the most important part of that whole process. We don't want to develop a plan for a neighborhood and then roll it out completely blind to a neighborhood and there's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? We never wanted to see this in our neighborhood. So we want to make sure that we're listening appropriately to the wants and needs of the citizens when we develop these neighborhood plans. And then also just in our grant division and in our homeless services division, it's all about listening. Listening to the needs of our residents is really the core of community development. So I've been in this department for several years and had the opportunity to go to the Texas Christian Community Development Network annual conference last fall. And I took the whole week off from work, vacation time, and I paid my own way to go. And I'm a Christian, an unashamedly Christian. And so I wanted to attend this to see what kind of things that I could learn and really what God wanted to show me that I could implement in my day job. And so, of course, at that point, we were really heavily involved in the development of the homelessness and mental health strategic plan. But God gave me a really clear message going into that week's conference that He really wanted me to clear my mind and to just go in and hear His message and to just be open-minded. So, of course, I emptied everything out of my mind as it related to homelessness, but I kept all of my other notions, and took all that with me. And in pretty short order, he told me, no, I don't want you here for homelessness. I want you here to learn other things. And so I had to literally empty all of my expectations and really open myself up to this really important message that he gave me. And that is that the church is and should always be at the heart of community development. It should not be a government-led initiative. It should be government-supported, but it should not be government-led. It should be led by the churches. This is how it has always been. The church is at the center, and then this is the mission field of the church. The next sort of field after that is the membership of the church. So the people that come and congregate in that facility. The neighborhood immediately surrounding the church is next. And then the greater community at large is after that. And then, of course, missions overseas and all of that stuff are also important. But we really need to look within and around first, or as the main part of our missions, right? So this was God's message. And what it really made me, first of all, was really ashamed that I hadn't involved my church more in my day job. I kind of had my work and my church, and neither the two shall meet. And he was telling me, no. That is the completely wrong idea. You need to get your church involved with what you're doing at work. So it was a very eye-opening, really inspiring week. So I came back to work and I pulled out my neighborhood plan that had been developed for the neighborhood around my church, and I did a little bit of an arts and crafts kind of exercise with it. So this is the Midtown Neighborhood District, and we completed this plan about 1.5 years ago. But this is the district that my church is in. So this is St. Mary's Catholic Church right here, this big orange block. And then all of these other orange blocks are churches within that neighborhood district. So I basically just pulled a radius of what that local mission field would look like, that neighborhood sort of mission field around each one of those churches, and suddenly almost this whole area was covered. So that to me said, okay, if we've got over 100 churches in Temple, which we do, and we all took this same sort of philosophy, we could cover the whole town, essentially. So let's take a look at the numbers. Let's look at what Temple is. And according to the last census in 2020, we had a population of 76,950 people. 18.5% of those individuals are living at or below the poverty line. That can include seniors that are on a fixed income, Social Security. It could also include younger people that are just, in lower paying jobs and just sort of struggling to make ends meet. But 18.5% living in poverty. We have 300-ish homeless people right now in our community, and over 100 churches, as I mentioned before. 60% of our U.S. households donate $2,000 to $3,000 a year to charity, and 47% feel that they are affiliated with a church. So that's a pretty good percentage of our population is affiliated with a religious organization. So let's dig into that a little bit more. Of the 76,950 citizens we have in Temple, 18.5% of those are experiencing poverty, which is 14,436 people suffering right now, living at or below the poverty line. If all of our churches were to divide those up, all 100 plus of those churches were to divide them up, it's 144 people per church that would need to have programming developed for them and services provided for them. Suddenly, that becomes really doable when you look at it like that. But I do just want to flip back here and just point something out. A lot of churches will develop programs, social outreach programs that are centered on the homeless community, that 300 people experiencing homelessness, instead of looking at the greater need, which is the individuals experiencing poverty in our community. And believe me when I tell you that these individuals are at risk of homelessness as I stand here speaking to you tonight. So that mission field is really the higher need, the greater need. And that's not to say that the programs that are provided for people experiencing homelessness are bad, or it's not that I'm encouraging you not to do that. What I'm asking you to do is just to consider, as you're developing programs for your church and for your ministries, that you take heed and understand the greatest need in our community is represented in people experiencing poverty. Throughout history, churches have done this kind of work so well. The churches have been responsible for hospitals, for schools, to develop a variety of different just sort of social service safety nets for the community. That's what churches are good at, y'all. That is the work that churches were really made for. But churches historically have developed programming that is empowerment-based, not enablement-based. There are a lot of programs in and around really everywhere that are providing an immediate need. They're serving people to provide them with supplies that they need right now to get through today, but don't do a whole lot of digging down into the root causes of what's preventing someone from providing for their own needs, and then developing effective programming to help them improve their individual circumstances. So the churches down through the ages, if you look down through the history books, you'll see that they have historically done that. They have created really empowerment-based programs that are provided to help people learn skills that they need or develop new habits that they need and to do things like that. But it is done through love. Let me go back. It's really done through love and through relationship building. It's not as, the churches have historically not been about, okay, let me just fix this problem, but let's bring people in through the love of Christ and welcome them into our family. Having someone in your family means a long-term commitment and a long-term relationship. That represents true commitment and true relationship building. So I've got just several different bullets here of things that the early churches have established. There's in our community, everyone is feeling all different kinds of emotions all the time. They're feeling fearful. They are feeling isolated. Social isolation is a big problem, and I think we all saw that during the pandemic. That's something that a lot of people suffer with, loneliness and isolation. So all of those emotions are being felt by people all around us. Interaction can really change those emotions. If we get out and we have that conversation with someone and we make them understand that we're going to come back and that this is not just about us fixing this problem that we feel that they are, but welcoming them into the family of Christ and saying, you're a part of us now, and we're going to come back and we're going to continue to check on you because we love you and we want to help you. We want to provide opportunities for you to improve. That really can change those emotions. The churches have also been really good at just walking with people. You know, if they don't have resources, if they're under-resourced, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to reach out and they're not going to provide that shoulder to cry on, but that they are there in that sort of relationship sort of way, that they, you know, this is family and we want to be with you no matter what's happening in your life. And it could be something that's really, really difficult for us to watch, but sometimes that's exactly what we're called to do, is just be there with them in their suffering and just provide that silent support. Because we do know that isolation can really kill a person. It can steal their life from them. And we have an obligation, I feel, and a responsibility as Christians to do what we can to prevent that type of isolation. There are two ways of looking at it, though. There is a transactional sort of approach to helping people where, again, you know, you're providing for their immediate needs. They're hungry today, so we're going to feed them today. They need clothing, so we're going to give them some clothes. There is nothing wrong with the transactional aspect of things and providing for those basic needs, but it has to be coupled in order to be truly effective and transformational. It has to be coupled with a relationship. Getting to know the person, understanding who they are, what their needs are, and really what they're struggling with, and providing that sort of holistic approach. If a person is struggling with food insecurity because they don't have a car or a method to get to the grocery store, that's something that's a need that you can help fill that will provide them the empowerment that they need to get to the store on their own. Does that kind of make sense? But we're finding these things out by digging a little bit deeper and asking those questions and building those relationships instead of just dropping the groceries at the front door. So the church's model for success has really been outreach first. So the churches would be planted in a community, and then the workers from the church would start visiting people around that plant and building those relationships. So that's always first. Outreach is always first. And then always seeing them as Christ suffering. Understanding that they're standing in front of Jesus and treating that person with that level of dignity and respect and love that they would if that was Christ incarnate right in front of them. That has to be a part of it. It can't be, going into someone's home and, judging them for how they're living and then, okay, well, I guess I'm going to have to go get you some groceries. No, it's treating them with love, dignity, and respect exactly where they're at because they are Christ in front of us. And then developing those programs to empower them. So one of the things that we found as we were doing the neighborhood plan for this neighborhood specifically is that there is a large number of Spanish-speaking individuals in this neighborhood, a large number of them. So an empowerment-based program for those individuals might be English as a second language classes here for free, or some other type of nationalization seminar of some sort, or providing them with some sort of an empowerment-based program that will give them the tools that they need to help them improve their individual circumstances. Okay, so let's go back to our map. Again, this is Midtown, and this is St. Mary's Catholic Church. So we're going to dig down further into St. Mary's, and through our neighborhood planning process, we actually develop a plan for the neighborhood based on demographic data that we're able to pull, and so that really made my job a whole lot easier. I was able to dig down into the block group and the census tract for the area specifically around my church to find out what those folks were experiencing. So in that one, it's this census tract 210. The median age is 29.2, so relatively young. Some small families. The average size is 2.5 people in the family. So mom and dad and a kid, probably. And that there is a wide range of children's ages within there as well. So we knew that we had young families, right? We also looked at the breakdown of ethnic demographics too, and saw that there is a large number of Hispanics in that neighborhood as well, and a large number of people renting their homes. And also, we were able to see what the area median income is for that, and it is a little less than $30,000 a year. So not as bad as some areas, but that's pretty low. And then 14% are living at or below the poverty line in our block group. So just some sort of low-hanging fruit we were able to pull from that. Potentially some parenting classes, maybe a Mother's Day Out program, something that would really appeal to younger families. So we were already sort of starting to think about things before we even started walking the neighborhood, just based on this information. And I can pull this same information for any other church that wants to develop a program like this. We can really get specific and arm you with some really good data before you even go out and work your neighborhood. All of the neighborhoods, no matter, and all of the people are really reacting based off of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And this pyramid really shows you that base level, these physiological needs of food, water, shelter, that sort of thing, if those needs are not being taken care of and you're worried about these basic needs all the time, your brain can't function at a higher level. It literally shuts down. The lower part of your brain is called your lizard brain, and it's where your fight or flight sort of reactions are. So when you're in a high stress situation, that's the part of your brain that's turned on. And the top part of your brain, where you have the ability to do more of these higher level positive self-affirmations and self-improvements and spiritual even improvements, all of that is shut down. And I like to use the analogy of a bear in the woods. So if you encounter a bear in the woods, your lizard brain, the lower part of your brain, is gonna turn off, and the rest of it's gonna shut down, and your brain is gonna say, "Run," because this bear is gonna eat you, and there's no other thought processes. If the top part of your brain was not able to do that, if it was still functioning without being shut down, you would probably be standing there going, "Oh my gosh, this bear is so cute. Look at how fluffy he is. Oh, I bet he's so soft. I just want to cuddle." That would be bad. You would end up being bear food. And so it's good that your brain functions like that, right? We want to make sure that we're being protected and that our brain is functioning correctly. This is where these folks are at. If they are suffering with poverty on a daily basis, they're in this level. It's hard for them to think past that. So providing them with support and with services that can help them improve their individual circumstances, make them feel good about themselves every day, and really feel like they're taking control instead of being controlled by their circumstances, that will give them the opportunity to continue up that triangle. So I wanted to just throw this in at this. I feel like this is an opportune moment for a good Teddy Roosevelt quote. But this is so true. People don't care what you know until they know that you care. If you're not getting out and making those relationships and having those conversations and letting them know that you really do care, you're not out to get them, they can trust you, they're not going to listen. So this isn't an overnight thing. It's going to take several trips out. It's going to take them seeing your face and understanding that you don't have a dog in the hunt. You're not trying to do anything, or you just want to love on them as a fellow Christian and as a fellow human being, and that they can trust you. It is a process, and it sometimes can be a very long process, but it's very, very worthwhile. So the first step, if you want to do this in your own church, is to get training. This type of work, when you're going out into your neighborhood and you're interacting with individuals, it can sometimes be pretty tricky. Sometimes you'll have folks that will say, oh man, I'm out of gas. I really need $20. Hey man, can you just give me some money? And you want to help. Like you've got your team together and y'all scheduled this outing and you're ready to go out there and just storm the neighborhood and, bring Jesus to everybody. So it's really easy to get enthusiastic and say, okay, man, let me give you some money. But that is not the right approach to take. We are interested in building relationships and being a friend, but not being the cash cow that just showed up at their door. There is a big difference. So making sure that your volunteers are trained appropriately is really step one in the process. There's a great training for this. It's called Partners in Hope, and or an organization called Partners in Hope that does a training called The Power of With. And they can come to town and do some training for you and your volunteers to really make sure you're ready to go out and talk effectively and build those relationships effectively. Of course, pray. Talk to God. Talk to God from the very beginning. Ask the people when you go out, can I pray with you? Can I pray for you? Let's pray together. Ask for God's guidance through this whole thing, and I promise you He will tell you where you need to go, and He will point you in that direction. Include God in this work. He will definitely lead you. The second step, I think, is to consider some low-hanging fruit. A lot of churches do outreach now at Feed My Sheep. Wonderful organization. I love Feed My Sheep. I volunteer there myself. But how about this? Instead of doing the normal, go there, serve the food, go when another church is serving the food and just sit in the dining room with the individuals experiencing homelessness and poverty and just have those conversations with them. Most people don't understand or know fully, but Feed My Sheep not only serves the homeless population, but they also serve people experiencing poverty, working poor, or people on a fixed income. So that's a wonderful place to start. Just go when you know another church is serving the food and just sit in the dining room and talk to people. Just start those conversations. Same things with churches touching lives for Christ. Go when you know another church is loading the groceries in the car and just walk up and down that line and talk to people. Ask them how they're doing, what brought them there. Are there any opportunities to maybe tell them about existing programs in the community? A lot of people may not understand everything that's available, so that would be a great thing for you to do. The Christmas gift giveaway, a lot of churches do this. They'll put up a tree in their narthex or their lobby, and people take the little names off there. They go buy the gifts, they wrap them, they bring them, and Beautiful, beautiful sentiment, beautiful program, but not empowering. A more interesting concept is one that Vista and First Baptist use. They actually set up a Christmas store, and they allow parents to come in and shop for their kids. They buy the presents, deeply discounted, like really, really deeply discounted, but they do their own shopping. They walk through, they pick out their own gifts for their kids. They take them home, they wrap them, they put them under the tree. That is an empowering program right there. And then just really any future program that your church does, consider how it could be turned into more of a relationship building program rather than an enablement type program. If there's a transaction involved, build a relationship component into it. Just kind of think outside of the box and really think, okay, how can we leverage this program to get to know these people more so that we can love on them? I know that you guys do, or at least you did a backpack program here at A New Day Fellowship. Love that program. I love that program. Figure out a way to get to know those parents, make it an activity where, they've got to sit down and introduce themselves and talk to you and really find out what they're struggling with and how your church might be able to help fill that gap. Just some other thoughts, and of course, all of your programs are really going to be dictated by the neighborhood and by the people that you visit, and they're going to tell you, I'm struggling with this or I'm struggling with that. But just some ideas to consider. Money management is always a big one, especially for people experiencing poverty. It's hard to make that dollar stretch, so that would be good. And also learning how to protest their property taxes, or get an exemption on their property taxes, or basically any sort of solution with their property taxes. A lot of people don't know what's available out there, and that they really do have the ability to go protest and should go protest their property taxes. So that would be a beautiful thing to do. A community garden. A New Day Fellowship has this beautiful campus here. Lots of opportunity for that, and you could invite the neighbors to come in and not only garden, but learn how to prepare the food, how to can the food, how to freeze the food, and make that dollar stretch a little bit farther. That would have a really great impact. I mentioned the Mother's Day out and the Christmas store. Parenting classes are also wonderful, and I know you guys do that here already. I love that. That's something I think we're dealing a lot with, generational habits that we really need to try to intervene into and change that cycle. And then just a good old-fashioned backyard Bible study. Just getting out there and talking to them about Jesus, Let's just get the Bible out. Let's talk about Jesus and have that just good old-fashioned backyard Bible study. God is going to lead you where he wants you to go. That is really the punchline here. If you're prayerful and you have good intentions, that the whole goal of your program is to just love on people, to let them know that they're not alone in their struggle, and that they have you as a friend and a partner and someone to just be with as they're going through life. Keep that intention. Keep God at the center of your program, and you will find success. God tells us in 1 Peter 4:10, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. We are called to this work. As Christians, this is what God wants us to do. He wants us to love each other as we love ourselves. I would say more than we love ourselves. Let's do it. Let's get out and let's love our neighbor. Thank you very much. If you guys would like for me to come to your church and do this presentation for you, I would love to. I am free evenings, weekends, holidays, whenever is convenient for you. Just give me a call and let me know. My number is 254-223-0767. That's my personal cell phone number. You can call me anytime, and I would be absolutely blessed to come and share this message. Thank you.